I did my first no spend challenge. I guess was when we started our fire journey, and it was pretty simple. I didn't see it as a challenge. It was I had no money. It's not really. I guess it's more of a challenge, but it's not an optional challenge. We're not talking about that today, though. I wanted to talk about how to set up a no spend challenge for I'm gonna say for a year, but honestly, you can do it as long as you want. If you do a month, 2 months, 3 months, just to kind of get you acclimated to what it looks like. That's what I'm gonna go over today, and I want the intent to be obviously to save money, right? But the more important takeaway is really to kind of show yourself that you probably buy a lot of garbage that you don't need, and maybe retrain the mind on how we view dealing with our money and spending our money, and maybe focus it on something that is more intentional. That's kind of the goal here. So I'm gonna go over a couple steps, and I'll be joining me. So step one, we're gonna make a list of things that we are still allowed to buy, and this can be kind of vague. It doesn't have to be perfectly detailed, but obviously things like food and shelter, things you need, right? You can put those on the list. They're kind of self-explanatory. So this list is, again, it doesn't have to be super detailed. And you're also going to make a list of things that you can't buy. So if you struggle to buy something that's not necessary, right, but you find yourself spending money on it all the time, maybe put that on the list of things not to buy. Or if you find yourself tempted all the time, like when you go into a certain store and maybe, I don't know. So for me, it's new tech. Like I love new tech. So that'll be the one thing that kind of I know catches my eye sometimes and maybe leads me astray every once in a while. I'm pretty good about it, but every once in a while it does get me. So be aware and put that on your challenge on the side of what you're not allowed to buy, right? And stick to it. You got to stick to this list. So it's one side is things you are allowed to spend money on. The other side is things you're not allowed to spend money on. Really, the next step we're going to take then is you're going to determine how long you want to do this for. Like I said, I'm doing all of 2025, but I'm not new to this. I've been doing this for a little while. This is, my fifth year now. So if you're brand new and it's a major adjustment for you, maybe start with a month, 2 months, somewhere in there, whatever you're comfortable with. And then if you find like you're doing pretty well, you can always tack more time on that. Okay, and here's the cool part. So as you're progressing, right, you're starting as you're progressing through whatever time you set as your no spend period. I want you to take the money that you were going to spend on something that you decided not to because it was on your not to spend list, and I want you to put that at minimum into a savings account. If you have some kind of investment account, put it there, but at minimum into like a high yield savings account if you have that. And I want you to track this because at the end of the experiment, I want you to be able to look back and see how much money did you save just by not falling into the trappings of buying things that maybe you weren't really paying attention to in the past. That's kind of the whole objective, like we mentioned, of this challenge, is to kind of engage the brain a little more into what we're spending money on. Because nowadays it doesn't take much. Before you know it, like you're throwing something in the cart and you're tap to pay. There's not much friction there. That's done on purpose, by the way. And then when the challenge is over, you can look back and you can see, okay, this is how much money I was able to save or invest. Hopefully, you're happy with that number. It could be a couple thousand, it could be a couple hundred. It doesn't really matter. The point is, you're being more efficient, more productive with what you have. Okay? And then what's going to help you to continue is really to establish why are you doing this? Like, what is your end goal? Are you saving for something in the future? Are you saving for maybe a house, maybe a wedding, something like that? Or are you saving for retirement or just filling an emergency fund? Whatever the case may be, having that tangible target of this is what I'm saving towards is only going to encourage you to keep going. So for me, again, 2025, I'm going the entire year. I'm saving on whatever I can. And my why is because I'm trying to retire early. I'm trying to buy back time. I don't want to have to work until I'm 60 or 70 and then retire and die in a year. That's not the vision. That's not what I want to do. So for me, whatever items I can get rid of that are slowing me down, I'm going to do that. Your why can be something completely different. That's completely up to you. And your length of time is also completely up to you. So I hope you'll join me. I would like to do it together and have some engagement. If you want to do a different time or whatever your goals are, please leave me a comment down below, and I'll see you next week.